Hello, my name is Tomy Shaw, and today's channel what I'll be doing is just trying to understand what is going on in the markets right now, looking at the view at a short-term view for the investments. And I found this video this morning that can be very interesting because this is the same view that I see what is going on right now in the oil and shorts on how oil prices could be pushing $80 a barrel by the end of this year. So we'll be looking at this video, and I just want to look.
Now joining us now for more is Stephen Shork. He's editor of the Shork Report. And Stephen, when you take a look at the reaction that we're seeing in crude, jumping about 3%, but I think it's relatively muted compared to what it could have been. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. And that's been the ongoing story now for the past year. We have to keep in mind that Iran has spent the better part of 2019 chumming the waters. That is to say, trying to bait the United States into a deepening conflict, whether it was the seizure of oil tankers, the mining of the Strait of Hormuz, the downing of U.S. drones, the drone attack orchestrated by Iran on the Saudi Aramco facility in September. You've always had these provocations, but you didn't have a response up until this point. So to that degree, the calculus has changed. So I think the market is going to its old playbook where we've had these provocations. And as Osama bin Laden taught us back in 2001, unchecked provocations only lead to further and greater provocations. So there was not a response in any of the provocations from last year. So we are certainly starting the new year on a fresh sheet of paper here, and we do have the response. I am a little concerned that the market is kind of relying on what happened back in 2019 when we did not get the response. But clearly, this response by the United States to the embassy siege staged by Iran a few days ago, the ball's back in the Iranians' court, and we're going to wait to return serve. So yes, we did have a material rise in prices today. To your point, not nearly as great as you would suspect. So I think the market is certainly going to take a wait-and-see attitude. That said, the market is clearly not positioned for this event. When we look at the option flow or the money flow in the option markets, the market is betting on a ceiling in oil prices, non-mixed WTI, upwards of $65 to $66 a barrel. We're still a few dollars below that, but if we see any further hardcore response and then an escalation in this conflict, we could easily break that $65, $66 ceiling. And then without any overhead protection at that point, then the green light is there for bulls for a significant spike in price.
Stephen, from how you see it.
So what he's talking about here is on a technical perspective. When you're looking at crude oil WTI futures overview, there's options that is pricing it at $66 because nobody thinks it can go up from that point on, but the resistance is at 66, and from that point the next resistance is almost at $80 a barrel. So if this goes up by to $80 a barrel, we could see oil prices, we could see stocks in the oil sector rise really quickly. And I'm betting on this because like everybody that looks at this sector, every time the barrel goes down to $50, there's a lot of tension around the world, and I believe we only need another attack or something, and this could pop up to $80 a barrel. I'm not hoping for this escalation, but what I see is that it only takes another attack or something, and if it pops up to $66. And remember, it doesn't take a lot to disrupt the market. People are looking at, yeah, there's oversupply, but you only need one little circumstances to bring, to disrupt the supply in the world, and you could see a big jump in the oil demand, so the oil price. So when we're gonna try to look at a chart. I'm gonna try it on my cell phone. Maybe it's gonna work, maybe it's not gonna work. But I usually go do my charting on investing.com. And once I find the company that I want to be looking at, because I love to look at companies using this method. So let's look at a company, CHK, not CHK, but Crude oil. Sorry about that. So let's look at commodities and WTI crude oil. Okay, we have a chart here, and if I change this around, maybe I can. We're gonna look at why he's talking about that this company could, not this company, but that sorry about that, I'm just being focused. So when we're looking at this chart from a, sorry, we can't see anything. I'm gonna change it like this. Now, when we're looking at this chart, we're gonna go on a monthly basis. You see that the next level is about 66%. It's up here, almost where the $62. We see a resistance. The next resistance is at $68, $80 a barrel. So if this happens, all the companies that are very pessimistic right now, a lot of people are going to be investing in them. And right now they're undervalued. You have a lot of value for what they're worth. Okay, they're not having profits, but remember, you gotta look for when you gotta be an investor in the sectors of which there's blood in the streets. Okay, you gotta remember, if you want to invest and follow these these strategies, you're gonna have to be willing to only put a little bit of money, because these are very dangerous scenario, very dangerous stocks, because right now their balance sheets are very heavy. They're not making a lot of operating income. But I always love to be a contrarian. Like, if everybody's buying a stock, I'm not buying that stock, because it's just a matter of time before it falls. Like, everything looks like it looks like it can keep on going higher and higher, but every time this happens, like the stock bubble in 2008, everybody was very optimistic. And when people are optimistic about a stock, I tend to be very scared about those stocks. Okay, they look safe, they feel safe, because everybody's going in the same direction. I love to go in the other direction. If everybody's buying real estate, I'm not buying real estate. If everybody's selling real estate, I'm buying real estate. If everybody's selling a stock and I think it's undervalued, I'm gonna be buying. And remember, I'm used to handling volatility. Like, these stocks are highly volatile. Like, it was $1.30 not long ago, and it went down to 60 cents. I bought more stocks because I believe that it's undervalued, but that's just an opinion, you know. Like, everybody has an opinion. Everybody sees something, and most of the time, like, what I've noticed is that these strategies work 20% of the time, but when they work massively. So right now we can also see that one of my stocks went down a little bit, and most of them are still doing pretty good. So all right, that ends this video. Hopefully it makes a little bit of sense of why I'm looking at the oil market right now, the oil sector, and why I believe it might jump to higher levels. So if you agree with me, or maybe you don't agree with me, just write it down in the comments. I'm not somebody that's afraid of critics. So if you want to say, oh, I don't believe in any of your strategies, or I totally agree with your strategy, write it down in the comments down below. And don't forget to remember to like my videos. It takes a lot of effort and a lot of time. So I try to make it as clear as possible for you guys to understand the information and see my outlook of what's going on in the market.